As solo travel is becoming more popular, cruising is an option that many people are considering, but there are some concerns. Solo supplements and pricing, types of cabins and accommodations, and even concerns about loneliness. In this video, I'll share a recent cruise experience and what was very unexpected. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, we recently went on a family cruise on board Norwegian Encore, and we did something that we never did before. My husband Frank and I got a balcony cabin, and our son Ethan, who often cruises with us, he works with us. Well, we had him try out a solo cabin, as Norwegian Cruise Line is known for being the cruise line for solo cruisers. Now, Ethan put it to the test, and truly there were some things that we never expected. Now, in this video, I'll share the details of what cruising solo with NCL is really like, including the cabins, the pricing, and the overall cruise experience. And I am gonna have Ethan here helping me with this video, sharing his own experience and answering your questions. Now, before I get started, I did wanna mention two things. Firstly, if you've cruised solo or if you're thinking about it, please do let me know down in the comments below. Just comment solo. And secondly, if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Okay, so first I want to give you a little bit of background on this cruise and the types of accommodations that are available for solo cruisers. So we took our family cruise on board Norwegian Encore. We had a great time, by the way, and a future video will be coming on that. But when it comes to solo cruise cabins, there are different options on board this ship as well as other Norwegian Cruise Line ships. So you have the studio cabins, which is where Ethan stayed. You also have inside cabins, ocean view, and balcony cabins, because over the last couple of years, Norwegian Cruise Line added a variety of cabins to their cruise ships specifically for solo cruisers without solo supplements. Now, we were trying to do this cruise economically, so while Frank and I had a balcony cabin, Ethan had a studio cabin, which is the smallest cruise cabin, I have to admit, that I have ever seen. And I have to say, I did wonder, would he find it too small? Would he find being in an inside cabin too dark? So later on, we will hear his impression. Now, you might be wondering, what is the cost of a solo cabin on Norwegian Cruise Line? Now, the price is going to vary depending when you book, depending on the cruise ship. Now, we booked our cruise approximately, I guess, 2.5 months before the cruise, and the price of Ethan's cabin, studio cabin, was $1,435 US. Now, that included more at sea. Now, very briefly, I'll go into what more at sea is, because if you are cruising with NCL, it is good to know. More at sea is basically a bundle type package where the beverage package was included. There was one specialty dining included with a studio cabin. There was a $50 shore excursion credit and 150 minutes of Wi-Fi. Now, by the way, I will leave a video all about more at sea at the end of this video in case you are wondering what is included in more detail. Now, Ethan's gonna help me out sharing his experience and answering questions. And just for reference, Ethan is 24 years old, and this was his first solo cruise experience. So when it comes to the studio cabin, what was it like? What are your thoughts? I know a lot of people wonder, is it too dark? Is it too small?
So the studio cabin is cozy, I would say. It's 99 square feet, which is definitely the smallest stateroom I've ever stayed in. But it's really well planned out. So there's a lot of storage space. There's a shower that's in the room, which is kind of weird, but it's functional. There's a toilet. Many people were asking if there was a toilet. There's definitely a toilet. You don't have a communal toilet in the studio cabins. There's a bed, and the bed was actually very comfortable. And one thing that I really liked about that cabin, which I've never really seen before, was the virtual window. So the virtual window had a live feed of outside. So in the morning, you'd wake up and you'd see the sunrise. At night, it would just be dark. And if that virtual window isn't your thing and you don't like it, there's actually like a window shade that covers it. So overall, I really like the room, and I would definitely stay there again.
That is pretty cool. And did you find you had enough storage? Because I know some people did comment that you have a lot of shoes.
I mean, I do have a lot of shoes, but I had enough storage. So yeah, like the storage space was really well planned out for a room that seemed very small. Like that was one thing that I was not expecting, because just like my mom, I'm definitely an overpacker. So yeah, I mean, more than enough storage space.
Okay, and later on I do have to ask if you would choose this type of cabin or even cruising solo again, but hold that thought.
Okay.
So could you talk about the studio lounge? Because obviously we visited it, but I didn't stay there. So you actually experienced what it was like.
So for those who don't know, the studio lounge is an area on the cruise ship reserved for solo travelers. So when you book a solo cabin, you're gonna have your own section of the ship with individual solo staterooms, and connected to that is a central studio lounge. So in the studio lounge, there's gonna be couches, there's gonna be tables, board games, and snacks, coffee. And honestly, one of the best perks was the included coffee. So you get espresso, cappuccinos, hot water for tea.
I would have loved that. I would have loved the coffee.
Yeah, it's honestly a great benefit that I wasn't prepared for, and I definitely took advantage of it. And overall, the studio lounge was just a great place to meet other solo travelers. I think since we're so many of us that are traveling solo, it's a great central place to connect and to meet people who just want to connect with other solo travelers. Like it makes so much sense to put that on a cruise ship.
That is awesome. And actually, speaking of that, I know that sometimes some people, like even it came up in questions that people had, is like in terms of other people, did it feel safe there? Let's say, and I know for you, you're a 24-year-old guy, but let's say you were somebody my age and I was solo cruising, would I feel comfortable there?
I mean, I think that Norwegian puts like an emphasis on making it a safe space for solo travelers, which is why to actually access the solo cabin area, you need to be a solo traveler. So you have to scan your key card to get into the to the cabin area where solo travelers stay. And it felt always like a very safe space, and honestly just a very friendly place. You go there, you see another person sitting down, you say, hey, how are you enjoying your cruise? And there's a lot of, I can't find the word, reciprocity, would that be the word?
Yeah, sure.
Between solo travelers. So it was a very friendly place and a nice place just to, have small talk with people. Nice. Or engage in, I guess, deeper conversations if that's what you're looking for.
Awesome. Now, I think a lot of people do wonder, what is the age or even the demographic of people that are booking solo cabins?
So the age for solo cabins obviously can vary, but on the most part, I would say it was between 40 and 60 years old, and it was a lot of the time solo travelers. As a little interesting thing that I don't think most people realize is that you could actually get connecting solo cabins. So let's say if you have a friend that also is a solo traveler, you could get cabins right next door to each other. Your cabins can connect, and then you could also have that space in between where when you want privacy, and yeah.
That is pretty cool. I like that idea, because I know that you had even said you met some different people that were traveling with other people on the cruise ship, but they still wanted their own space.
Yeah, and I think instead of sometimes it could be hard to share an inside cabin with two people, so you could kind of get the best of both worlds, where you're still with your friend or family member, but you get that separation when you want it.
Now, for people concerned about loneliness, or maybe even people that are shy, is there anything being done for solo travelers?
So this is another concern that I even had before going on the cruise, was how does it work? How do you meet other solo travelers? And I think this is where Norwegian has really excelled at creating a great experience for solo travelers, is that they host solo traveler meetups. So every day at 5 p.m. in the studio lounge, there's a host that comes and pretty much makes dinner reservations for the other solo travelers, show reservations, and then it creates a space where people could say, oh, you want to go to the casino tonight? Let's get together after dinner, let's go to the casino. Oh, you want to try this specialty restaurant? Let's go try this specialty restaurant together. So it's kind of a place where it makes it very easy for, no matter if you're the most outgoing person in the world or if you're very shy, you kind of could get thrown into a group of people and you're in a situation where you're surrounded by other solo travelers who are just looking to create friends, create memories, and have a good time with other cruisers.
That is really nice. Now, there is something that the solo meetup organizer had told me separately while we were talking. I did want to share that with you. And then, Ethan, you had one thing that totally surprised you that you're going to mention next. So something the solo meetup organizer told me is that the misconception sometimes about solo cruising is that it is single cruising. And it definitely can be single cruising, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. There are actually people who have met and fallen in love on cruises. So this definitely happens. But for people that are concerned, you're going on a cruise, you just want to travel solo, you could do that. It's not a place that people are actually like planning to hook up or that you have to do that. There's nothing like that, but obviously anything can happen. But I thought that this was really a good question that I think a lot of people do wonder about. All right, now I loved what you told me before about what surprised you.
So something that really surprised me about staying in the studio cabins was how friendly the staff are. And I think this might be because they're dealing with other solo travelers all the time that are more talkative and looking to be just more chatty and seek companionship. So everyone from the stateroom attendant to the people filling up the coffee bar and the snack bar to the ones that are just supervising the lounge were so friendly, and they were always just open to having conversations. It was so interesting hearing different stories from the ships that they've been on in the past.
That is nice.
And just getting to know them over the last week. So I would say one of the big benefits of staying in a studio lounge is just the camaraderie among passengers, among crew, among other like-minded people that are staying in that area that are just looking to not be lonely when they're at sea.
I love that. So the big question, would you cruise solo again?
I would definitely cruise solo again. I think, honestly, Norwegian did such a good job at appealing to the market of solo travelers that it's like a no-brainer. If you're looking for that vacation where you just want to travel alone and explore new places, still experience the cruise life, but also not feel lonely and be surrounded by other solo travelers. And it's not like you're only restricted to the solo areas. You could go around the ship, you can meet other cruisers, but you always have the solo area to fall back on and to see those familiar faces at the end of the day in the lounge. So overall, I would definitely do it again. Was the cabin a bit small? Yeah, but having a small cabin pushes you to go out more, pushes you to socialize and create those memories. So overall, I would say 100% I would do it again.
I love that. And I did want to mention also, I had met a couple of the people that were staying even within the studio, like those studio cabins, and they were actually similar to you, different ages, of course, but they maybe had family on board or other people, but they were on their own and they didn't want to have to be forced into sharing a cabin with somebody else or paying double in another cabin, and they were all pleasantly surprised. Well, I am going to leave all of the information about more at sea right after this video, but I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know if you would consider sailing solo. Have you cruised solo with NCL or any other cruise line? Please let me know down in the comments below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now and happy cruising.